display, build quality, keyboard, trackpad. I'll get to the both these laptops share
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me? Yeah. Hey, can you hear me there, Stu Michelle? Hey, testing, testing, one, two, three. Okay, good, good, good. Good morning. Welcome back. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'm just waiting for a trade here. It's probably not going to happen till the open, just because it's very choppy. As you can see on the 5 minute chart here, it's very, very, very choppy. Yeah, it's well, it's going up here pretty good since the beginning on the weekends there. So I'm looking for a short up here on the 60-minute chart here. So here's a zone here that I like. Yeah, so as you can see on the 60-minute chart here, so this zone right here, there's a gap zone right here, this red area right here. Oops, sorry, this area right here, and then there's also a bunch of zones up here as well, which I like to take a short up here if the momentum or the the indicator tells me that it's if the indicator confirms it. Yeah. So I'm waiting for it to come back up to here. Yeah, it's very similar to fair value gap. Yep, yep. It's exactly fair value gap basically. So if you understand what that is, you can actually draw it yourself, right? So right here, this is on the 60-minute chart right here, and then you have one on the 5 minute chart up here. This zone right here, and then these are all POC zones up here. Yeah, so if you understand fair value gap, that's what this zone does right here. So the gap entry is basically how I confirm it is. So do you see these bars right here? Do you see this yellow little icon on the bars? These are the POC of the bar, right? So if the POC of the bar, for example, is on top of the bar, is at the high of the bar, which means that a lot of trades have occurred at the top of the bar. So there's sellers up there, right? So um, take a look at this example right here, right? Do you see this? Let me show you a 1 minute. So you see this 1 minute bar right here. So you see that it hit this gap zone right here. This is actually not a gap zone. This is a point of control zone. This gray area. So you see how it hits it right there, and then you see the POC on this bar right here, right? It's at the top of the bar. So that's a good signal that this is a good short. Now you also see it's a three candle reversal bar too, right? So you'll see let me just draw the eclipse control F11. Yeah, so you see this right here. So this is a three bar reversal. You got up bar, indecisive bar, and then a down bar, right? So this is a three candle reversal as well. So that also gives you confirmation that this is a good short, right? So that's how I determine if a gap zone or a point of control zone is a good entry, right? Where in A, it shows you that three bar reversal. It shows you that the point of control, you see the point of control of this bar here, is that top of the bar, middle of the bar, top of the bar, right? Which means there's a lot of execution that happened close to the zone, right? So obviously it then went and dropped. So that's how I determine whether to take the trade or not, right? So right here, this I wouldn't have taken this trade just because you see that point of control of this bar right here. Right here, the point of control is at the low of the bar, right? So on this example right here, on the I think this is the 15-minute bar, you see that it hit this gap zone, but the problem is the point of control was not at the top of the bar, right? It was at the low of the bar. So you could have taken that trade. Again, it's getting rejected right here, right? So now buyers are coming back in. There's support here, right? As you can see, these POC bars right here. So this could be a good short here, right? But again, I don't trade on the 1 minute, right? My stop and target are on the 1 minute, but on the 5 minute, you see that this bar right here, this POC, is at the low of the bar. So this wouldn't be a good short for me. Now it could play out, but again, if it bounces back, it will probably come back to this POC here, right, where there's a lot of transaction that happen at the low of the bar here. So this would not be a good short for me, right? So that's how you can determine whether. And there's other factors too, right? For example, there's also the auto Fibonacci levels, right? So this is actually a short here because the Fibonacci has shifted, right? From this is actually a long. So on the 5 minute, you see that the 61 and the 78 is at the low, is down here. So this is actually a signal for a long instead of a short. But on the 1 minute, this is a short, right? Because the Fibonacci, the auto Fib, right, it's at the 76% retracement. If you would taken this trade here, your stop would be just above the 100%, right? But I wouldn't have taken this trade just because, like I said, the POC on the 5 minute just shifted up to the middle of the bar. So it could be a short, but again, it's very dicey, right? Not the best entry here. Yeah, this is the auto fib that's coming. Yeah, it's coming pretty soon actually. So on the 60 minute, the auto fib here, you see the 76, the 68, and the 50, right? So on the 60 minute, it's a short setup, right? On the 15 minute, it's a long setup, right? Because the fibs, if it comes down to here, I'm looking for a trade down here because there's a fib of 61. There's also some zones down here, right? That supports it. So that's how I determine. I also look at these momentum indicators, right? So right now it's getting kind of overbought, right? Because the reading up here is a little high. Right, over here as well. This is a short because the momentum indicator on the 5 minute it's pretty high, and then the 1 minute it's actually coming up to the extreme here. So yeah, I would not take a long here just because this is telling me that the momentum, the overbought, oversold right here, it's a little high. So I'm looking for this to kind of come down to either the 40 or the 0, right? This is coming down as well. The momentum is coming down. This is also pretty high. This is also pretty high. So there's no short, there's no long here for me at all, right? So I look at a lot of factors, right? So these are stuff that I look for, right? So I look, is there a zone? Yes. Is there supportive on the fibs? Yes. How's the momentum? Is the momentum overbought here, right? Or oversold? So there's it's just not one thing, right? It's multiple things. So it's hard to for people that don't have these. It's kind of, I don't know how they do it, but it's, I need these things to kind of confirm my trades. And this is the VWAP here. This cyan color. That's the VWAP. Right. So it's extended. Right. So I like to come back. If you take a short here, I would like to kind of have it come back to the VWAP here. And then you can see the market structure, right? Higher high, lower low, low high, higher low. So it's choppy, right? So you can see these the the structure, right? So it's not like higher higher low, right? It's high, low, 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 high, low. It's kind of all over the place. So that tells me it's choppy. So there's no trade here for me. Again, on the 50-minute, it's also very, as you can see, the market structure, right? Higher, higher, low, low, higher, low. So it's kind of all over the place. It's not like higher, low, higher, high, right? So you kind of broke trend here, but you still went up. So it's going to be chop fest up here. Yeah, it's basically a confluence. Yeah. So yeah, there's actually no trade absolutely anywhere right here. It's all mixed, right? So that tells me that I'm not taking any trades here at all. Again, likely it's not gonna happen till probably at market open. I don't know if there's any news today. Let me just double check. Yeah, there's retail sales at 5:30. So I use financial juice for right here. I use financial juice for market data. Right, so there's one at 5:30 right here, and then after that, nothing till 7. Yeah, so one at 5:30 and one at 7. So not a lot of news. Yeah. Well, it keeps me out, right? Like you don't have to trade a lot, right? You don't have to trade a lot. You can have one good trade. Again, I just scalp just because the Nasdaq just moves pretty quick, right? Yeah, there's actually no trade right now. It's just chop fest here. So you see on the 60-minute chart, right? It's higher, it's low, low, high. So it's still short, right? On the 60-minute, it's telling me there's no long here at all, right? This here again, high, low. It's choppy. Again here, high, low, choppy. On the 1 minute, it's also choppy, right? Low, low, high, low, and then you got higher high here. So yeah, there's absolutely from a 15 to a 1 minute. There's nothing to do. Uh, the the 60 minute is it's telling me it's a bearish, right? It's a bearish chart pattern. Yeah. So the order flow and book map. So that's just for me. The book map is just too busy, right? Way, way, way too busy. So I could tell already. I'm kind of using similar to what bookmap does. Um, so on the bar, right? You see the POC on the bar, right? That kind of tells me where a lot of buyers are actually buying or selling. Do you see this bar right here on the 5 minute? Do you see that there's sellers right there, right? The POC just shifted to the top of this bar there, right? So there's a lot of transactions that happen right there, right? So this is a little bit more cleaner than bookmap because you see a lot of spoofing up here, right? You can see tons of orders on bookmap, but again, until it gets executed, you know, that's just it's just basically scare tactics, right? So until I see the POC shift, again, you see the POC shift there on the 5 minute? It went all the way up here. So there's a lot of transaction that happened here, right? I don't know if it's buyers, sellers, but I could tell you that, it's a little bit more cleaner to see than the book map, right? And then I used to use the order flow, the like the VWAP, and the high value area, right? I used to use that, but it doesn't really get you that much for me, right? Since I'm scalping, I'm not really looking for the big moves, right? So I rely more on the POC on the bar than the high value area, high value low of the entire session, right? It's just too much. Like this, you can only put so much indicator on there where it just becomes very cluttered, right? So for my style, I don't use that. I just use what I'm comfortable with. I used to use it, but it was just so cluttered, right? For me, anyway. Um, oh yeah, my volume. Let me increase the volume. Sorry about that. Okay, let me know if that's any better. Yeah. So I was saying this book map is just too cluttered for me, right? It's nice that you see people putting the orders up a certain level, but again, until it gets bought or sold, those are just fictitious orders, right? Until it gets executed, right? So for me, the bar, right? So the bar POC kind of tells me that, right? So right there, you see the POC at the top of this bar here. It's basically there's a lot of transaction that happen at this top of the bar, right? And again, it happens to be in a zone here, right? So you could tell there's sellers right here, right? I find this a little bit cleaner, the book map, in a way, just because I want to see the transaction that actually occurred, right? Versus, some order sitting out there, right? Which is sitting there. It hasn't been executed. I'm not sure I find a lot of value in that. Until it gets executed, I really don't care how many orders are out there, right? Okay, good. Yeah, I pumped up the mic a little bit for you. So you see this right here? It got rejected, right? At the zone right here. Right? So there's a open POC right there. Right? So I could tell that there's a lot of transaction. Now, if this seller right here, if the sellers right here are missing, are waiting to sell, right? So if this bar here hits this POC right here, you also see a POC zone right here, right? So we'll see what happens here, right? If this bar comes up here, hits it, right, and then pulls back, I know that there's sellers here, right? So right there, it touched it on the 1 minute. Let's see if it pushes it through, right? So it's still here. So if you would take in this trade there, you would put your stop just a little bit up here. But again, on this bar right here, on the 5 minute, right, you have competing sellers and buyers here, right? Is he going to pass through this? We'll see, right? So that's how I kind of see the market by bar versus overall orders that hasn't been executed. So right here, here's we'll see if this holds, right? So there's a zone right here. It punched to it. Now let's see if seller's going to step in, right? But again, this is a chop fest right now, so there's nothing to do at the moment. So on the 1 minute, right, buyers are here. There's a lot of buyers coming in, right? You see a zone here. You see a fair value gap right here. You got a big zone right here as well, right on the 15 minute. So we'll see if this holds. Again, I would not take a trade here just because it's so choppy, right? So if you take a long short here, where would your target be, right? It will be right here, right? Risk reward, not that great, right? Because you know that there's a zone here that's either buyers going to step in to defend or it's going to pull back, but I doubt it's going to come back. So there you go, right? So there's POC there. So again, sellers are in control here, right? Because POC just shifted to the top of the buyer here. So you can see higher high, higher low now, right? High high, higher low, high high, higher low. So this higher low hasn't been broken yet. So it's still on an uptrend on the 1 minute, even though this is lower high. This is still pending, this market structure, right? So this is a lot of the buyers here, right? So on the 5 minute, right, structure just shifted. Higher high, higher low, high high, right? So if you're short here, you might want to tighten your stop just because market structure just shifted. Yeah, so you have to kind of put all this into perspective, right? Like just you kind of have to read the market basically, right? So now it's kind of bullish, right? Higher high, higher low, high high. This is still bullish, right? Because this lower high hasn't completed yet, right? Unless this thing comes back down here and breaks this higher low, it's still on an uptrend. But again, there's not a lot of volume here. It's just very, very snail. It's like trading the ES, right? It's very, very slow. So it's not something that I would trade here. Yeah, it depends on what trend are you looking at, right? So there is no trend right now, right? So on the 5 minute, it's getting to be bullish, right? So would I wait for a bounce? Again, it all depends on which time frame you go for, right? So right now, on the 1 minute, right, it's getting overbought here, right? So you're looking for a pullback, right? So you got a zone right here, but on the 5 minute, right, it's kind of neutral, right? On the 50 minute, again, it's getting kind of overbought here. So I'm looking for a pullback here. I would not go long here. I would kind of look for a short here, right? So here's one zone that I could short. But again, you're coming up to this auto fib, right, at the 50% retracement bar, right? So do you wait to hit the 50% retracement first to see how it reacts, or do you do it at the zone? Again, that depending on the lower time frame, right? So on the 1 minute, it's a good short. On the 5 minute, I'm waiting for this to kind of come up a little bit more. So right now, I would look for a short here because momentum is momentum is bullish. But again, I like to do the reversion trade, right? So I like to kind of once momentum is up, I like to see it pull back. I could take a short here actually. This could be a short. Yeah, we'll see here. I might take a short here. Again, the market is just so like it's just so slow, right? It's not moving. So if you look at the DOM here, right? You see there's like the spread is like 2 ticks, right? So it's there's not a lot of volume here, right? There's like 2 ticks of spread here. Sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's 4, which means that the market is very illiquid, right? It's not. Anytime you see 2 spreads on the Nasdaq like that, it's not a lot of volume, basically, because the Nasdaq moves fast, right? Very very fast. So on this liquidity, there's I would not take a trade in here just because the spread is just not. It's quite big for the Nasdaq. So there you go. You got your 3-bar reversal right here on the 1 minute, right? But again, the 5 minute doesn't really confirm that, right? The 50 minute doesn't confirm that. The 1 hour. So here's your 3-bar reversal. If you want to take that trade, right? There's your zone. This would be the bar that you would take the short on, right? You'd be pretty good here. Your stop would be just above here. Again, I wouldn't take this just because the 5 minute doesn't confirm it either. So this could be a 3-bar reversal right here, right? Oh wow. Yeah, news just came out. I forgot about the news. All right, 5:30. Yeah, there's your 3-bar reversal there. If you didn't know about the news, you'd be up pretty good. Yeah, there's news coming out. What happened? Yeah, negative number. That's not good. Yeah. Yeah, so you can see here, New York Fed manufacturing, right? It's worse than expected. Yeah, because there's not a lot of liquidity. There's a lot of news at 5:30. So remember, I told you there's a reversal bar right here. You can go short. So if you didn't know the news, right? There's a 3-bar reversal right there, right? And they hit the zone right here. There's a supply zone right there, right? You've been up, but again, you will not take that trade because there's news at 7:30, right? All right, let's see if I have a trade here. I like it when it's volatile, the market. Let me take a long here. Let's see. Yeah, do you see long looks good? 61% retracement. You got POC at the low of the bar on the 5 minute, also at the 50 minute, right? So this could be a long here. But then you got this zone right here just popped up, right, on the 1 minute. So that would not, again, it has to push through this. right, so I'm gonna see if I can take a trade here. Let's see. Likely go long. Yeah, the auto fib automatically switches from long to short, right? So right now, on the 1 minute, it's looking for a short. On the 5 minute, it's a long, right? So you would have gotten this would have been a good trade there um, for the long. And then on the 15 minute, if it comes down here, this will be a long. This is still short on the 60 minute, right? Yeah, so you see the auto fib automatically reconfigures, right, depending on the market structure, right? So I don't need to draw it out. It automatically draws it out for me. So right there, it automatically draws it out. Once the structure is broken, it'll redraw the auto fib. Yeah, it automatically draws it out. Yeah. So take a look at this 1 minute fib right here, right? So as soon as it breaks the 100 or the zero, it's going to redraw it based on the market structure, right? Whether it's long or short. So it'll likely go long here. You'll see it switch from short to long here, right? So the 61.78% retracement will be down here in the bottom, right? So it has this bar has to finish first before it redraws the fibs. Yeah, also on the 5 minute, it's going to redraw it as well. Watch the 5 minute and the 1 minute, right? So you see a fib right here. You got a fib right here. So as soon as this 1 minute bar closes, it's going to redraw this. As soon as the 5 minute bar closes, it will redraw this fib. So what's the 1 minute, right? It's going to go long here, right? You'll see the retracement will be 76 will be down here where this point of control is. So do you see how that shifted from zero? Now it's now long. So if it comes back down to 61 right here, that's a good long here because you also have the point of control right here at the 61, which is a good long. You'll see the 5 minute switch here. Oh, it already switched, right? So there you go. There's the 61. Okay, so here's the 160 is still bearish. Yeah, I'll put that on the website here. It's almost done, really. I just need to do a little bit more testing to make sure that there's no issue, and then I'll put it on the website. Yeah, it's very bullish right now, so I'm looking for a short here if I can get one. Yeah, I'm looking for a short right now. We'll see if it sets up for me. This is a good. Looking for a short here. Yeah, I did get it. Looking for another short here on the 5 minute. Sorry, which evaluation? Let me see. I like the 150. Yeah, yeah. I'm trading a PA account right now. I got two 150 PA account. Yeah, I do the 50 as well, but my stop is really going to be pretty tight for the 50. I like the 150 just because I can add on to an area. Uh, it takes a little longer to pass, right? But if you're kind of new to funding, you might want to do the 50 first because I think it's best value basically, risk reward basically. I think it's 3,000 to 2,500, right? The 150 is I have to make 9 grand, right? Stop loss 5,000, so risk reward not that great. Yeah, I got two PA the Apex, so and then I got a bunch of ETF as well, 150. So I'm copying them across using Replicanto. Yeah, so I trade the 150K combine or the evaluation. So this is I'm looking for a 5 minute short here. If it gives it to me. Are you trading eval right now? Yeah, these are two PA 150 PA account for from Apex. Yeah, 50 is best. It's best value for you basically. It's just the stops just too tight for me on the 50. I tried the 50. It's just with the trade style that I do. I like to add on to my position, so I need a little bit of a buffer. But the 50, yeah, if you're kind of, if you can manage your stop, to be very tight, the 50 is the best value. Yep. For me, the 50 is just it's the stops is way too tight for the way that I trade. So I like to add like multiple positions in there. So for example, if I was going to take a long, right? So I would sometimes buy at the 50, add to the 61, add to the 76 for a long, right? My stop loss would be just down here. So you need a bit of a cushion, right? So if my analysis is correct, if I wanted to go long, I buy one here. If it triggers, right, I buy another one here if it drops, and I buy another one down here. So I'm in three contract, but if you have a 50K account, that's pretty risky, right? Like you're probably gonna be stopped out right here if you're wrong, right? So so the 150 kind of suits me. So if I choose a 50, I would have to wait till either it comes down to here or this zone right here to take the trade. But sometimes it never comes down here, right? It just hits one of my initial zone and then just pops up. So 50 K evaluation, you gotta be very picky of which area you want to buy at, right? Yeah, I could do micros too, but it just micros just yeah, it just doesn't do it for me actually. Micro's tough. Yeah, if you do a 50, yeah, you could do micro, right? Add on to a zone that you think should hold, right? So this is actually a good short here, actually. But the problem is the 1 minute's already there's a little bit of support here at the 50. Yeah, no problem. It's hard enough trading, right? So if you get another person's perspective on how they trade, it's kind of opens up your mind, right? Rather than just being, have one way of looking at the market, right? There's so many ways to look at the market, so many ways to trade it. So I can't take a long here. Again, you see the momentum down here, right? This is on the 1 minute. It's really, really oversold, right? I'd like to take that short, but I can't because this is preventing me from doing that, right? The oversold on the 1 minute, it's just not a good short here. This is a good short on the 5 minute for me, but the 1 minute's telling me I can't do it because you see the wicks, right? Seller wick here, POC at the top of the bar on each one, right? So there's sellers here, right? Even on the 15 minute, right? There's a POC at the top of the bar on the 15 minute. On the 60 minute, not so much, right? The POC is at the bottom of this bar here. And then on the 1 minute, I can't take the trade just because it's massively oversold. So I need this momentum to be outside of this red zone, right? To take the short. But again, on the 1 minute, you're going to expect, again, not a lot of volume here. So you kind of have a structure, right, of how to trade this, right? You can't just, I guess this looks like a good long, right? You can't do that, right? You have to find a system that you're comfortable with, and then stick with it, right? If this is telling me this is a good short, and this is telling me no, it's not a good short because it's oversold, then don't trade it, right? There's always going to be an opportunity, right? So remember, I said that 15 on the 5, it's a good short. This one is preventing me from going short. Looks like it's going to break down in the 5 minute here. Right? Until this thing gets out of this red zone, I can't go short on the 1 minute, on the 5 minute. Now, is this going to drop? It could, right? But again, I'm okay with it because I have a rule where I can't go short when 1 minute is very oversold here. 5 minute looks really good for a short here, right? 15 really good for a short here. All right, it broke that low there. All right, so I'm gonna look for a long now. The 5 minute momentum is coming down. You got a gap right here on the 5 minute and the 1 minute. looks like buyers coming in. Yeah, sideway consolidation right now. Not much to do here. Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. It is. It is. Well, there's two types, right? There's the fair value gap, which is the one that's extended to the right, and then there's the this one right here. This is the gap zone. This is the POC gap zone, right? So the fair value gap is you see these things that are extended to the right. So you can see like there's this zone extended to the right, and there's a zone that's not extended, right? So the fair value gap are basically are to the right of the chart. So that's how I distinguish between a fair value gap and the POC zone. Is the one that's fair value gap is pushed to the right, and the more important one is the gap is the POC zone, which is the one that's kind of centered to the bar. Right, so you'll see here on the 15-minute right here, this is a fair value gap here, the one that goes to extended to the right, and then the POC gap zone is right here. So when you see the two together like that, that's a very good zone to short, right? When you have both of them together. Yes. Anything that's silver, anything that's silver is a zone that's been already been mitigated, right? It's already been touched. So yeah, here, so this one here, so I could change the color actually. If you, I could actually go and change the color. Yeah, it's generated by the PLC. Right, so the bar PLC, if it has been mitigated, it's going to draw a PLC. So, for example, if you do a 5 minute, 5 minutes kind of rough. Let me see. Yeah, so right here, do you see this on the 60-minute chart right here? Do you see this PLC right here? The PLC on this bar. Let me. So do you see this right here? This bar right here, right? The PLC is at the low of the bar. It hasn't been touched since, right? So what it's going to do is it's going to draw, right? The PLC right here. This is more powerful, I think, than the fair value gap, right? So it'll create a green one right there, right? So it tells me visually that this zone hasn't been touched. So if it comes back, if sellers are still interested, this zone should hold, right? So similar to this one right here on the 15-minute, you'll see that there's a draw the arrow. So you'll see, you'll see this area right here, right? That's a zone here. This is a PLC zone, right? It hasn't been touched yet. It hasn't been mitigated, right? So what's going to happen is when it comes back down here, it could be a good support if buyers are still waiting to buy here, right? Until it gets mitigated, this zone is still valid for a while, right? Similar to the short up here. Yeah, it's a naked point of control. Yeah, but it's on the bar level, right? It's at the bar level. It's not at the session level. Yes. Yeah, it is a naked point of control for the bar. Yes. So if it comes back down, right? This is a fair value gap right here. Right? There's some inefficiency between this bar here and this bar here. Yeah. So people can actually draw them out manually, right? I used to do that, but then I decided just code it, right? Just so I can see right away where these zones are, right? So again, most of the stuff you guys can actually just do yourself manually, really. I like to have it automated for me, to draw it out for me, so that I don't have to manually look for them, right? It's kind of hard to look for them, really, when you think about it. Yeah, so here it is. Here's the naked PLC right here, right on this bar, right? It's touching it now. So if sellers are interested in, this could be a resistance zone here, right? But this is not that great because the 1 minute, I don't dwell too much on the 1 minute just because it's just too small of a time frame, right? The bigger zones are like in a higher time frame. Yeah. So right there, it's being rejected here. Well, you can see the PLC here on this bar here. So you do have some rejection here, right, on that zone. But unfortunately, on the 1 minute, it's met by another zone down here. So you have a fair value gap zone and a PLC zone that's going to generate right here. So this is a good support level here. If it holds on the 1 minute. Again, the 1 minute, it's a hit miss because it's such a small time frame, right? So I use these zones not for, well, it helps with the entry, but it also helps with the exit, right? So if you took a short here, or you took a long here, right? You know, where do you get out, right? Some people, like to do 1 to 2, right? Risk reward ratio, but that's arbitrary, right? So I like to use these zones to find my target, right? So it acts both as an entry and an exit as well. It visually shows you, you know, where the support and resistance are, really. So again, Mondays and Fridays are are pretty. I usually don't trade them unless it's a good setup. So it's gonna be pretty boring Monday, Fridays. So there probably won't be a trade today. We'll see. Um, I hate trading Mondays and Fridays. Yeah, so you can see the 60-minute, you call it Fibonacci. So switch to a long here. Right, so any pullback coming back to this area is a good entry. Yeah, 60, 15, 5, and 1 are all bullish. go. 2 minutes to go. I'm looking for long here on the 5 minute. So we'll see what happened on the 5 minute. Once it closes, likely to go long. Well, if the POC is not the top of the bar here. Yeah, sorry about that. Just had to go to the restroom there. Can you hear me now? Stream, can you hear me? Yeah, I took myself off mute there, so you should be able to hear me. So yeah, so I think from now on, I think it's just gonna be chop fest. I want to take that short there at the beginning of the open right here. I didn't know how volatile it's gonna get. Didn't take it. So yeah, I think it's just gonna be a chop fest from now on. So my play, if I was gonna stick around, is basically up here look for short, up on the yellow and magenta color, looking for shorts. Anything that comes down to about 18 to 40, I'm looking for a long. Anything in between is kind of going to be a chop fest. It's just going to be just not a great zone area to trade. So right here on the 1 minute, it's you're looking for a short here, right? The fib, auto fib automatically calculated, the fib numbers, so it's looking short. On the 5 minute, the fib auto fib automatic generated. It's going to looking for a short. 15 minutes, it could be a long, but the only way to take a long is if it breaks 16 to 40. Right? And then on the 60 minute, you're only going to take a long if it's, again, 18 to 40, right? So anything in between from here onwards, it's just going to be a chop fest, right? It's going to go up here, hit this number, come back down. It's going to be sideways action. You can all see it on the 1 minute already. Yeah, we're gonna end the stream in about 9 minutes. So let me know if you have any additional questions. I probably won't take another trade just because it needs to break certain levels for me to take a trade. Right, so it needs to break 18.3, this number here for short, and then needs to break 18.240 for a long. So nothing to do. Yeah, you can see the zone here on the 1 minute, the fair value gap on the 1 minute, right? Order block, right? It held pretty good. Tested once right here, tested again right here, came all the way back down. Also on the 15 minute, right? This order block right here, it's holding. So unless it breaks it, there's no long. So I took that long here just because it's touching the VWAP here. So I saw momentum. So I took that long right here about here. took one target, took a target right here. So it's exactly where it's just going to consolidate. And again, Monday's not a great day to trade for me, as well as Wednesday. I mean, as well as Friday. So I copied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I copied that over 5 accounts. So 150 times 5. Yeah, the 1 minute, it just shifted to a long, right? The fibs. But again, the momentum is just a little high here, so I think there's going to be a pullback here on the 1 minute. Yeah, there's tons of resistance up here, right? So it needs to break out this block right here. It needs to take out this block right here, and then on on the 5 minute, there's a block right here as well. See this one right here? There's a block right here. So there's tons of resistance there. So it's just going. I think it's just going to be chopping, right? Up and down this range here. So after a big move like that, it's definitely going to be just going to be range bound. So on the 1 minute, again, the momentum is just massively overbought here, right? So you're going to look for a pullback. You could take a trade pretty close to this fair value gap right here, right? That just got generated if you want. There's a POC zone right here. It's testing. But again, the 1 minute, the zones are a little bit tough to trade because it moves so fast on the 1 minute. So you see these this gray area, like there's nothing to trade here, right? On the 5 minute, right? Because it's been breached, right? It hasn't broken yet. On the downside, it hit this POC, naked point of control, in this bar here, right? To the tick. That's why right here. So on the VWAP as well. So that would have been a good long there. But again, it's this gray zone right here. It's there's nothing to do, right? Unless it breaks out or it breaks down. So it's likely going to bounce off here on the 1 minute, right? It'll come down to either this zone right here or this fair value gap right there, right? So it's just going to chop faster. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to end the stream here pretty quick. I only trade between 4 and 7, really. And then anything after that is just basically I'll leave it on, but I'll keep an eye on it, but I probably won't trade during those days. Sometimes if there's a good setup, I'll take a trade, but other than that, it's not my primary concern after 7. And then maybe the power hour around 11, my time, 11 to 12, I'll come back in, see if there's any movement. And if there is, I'll likely take a trade. If not, I'll call it for a day. So I'm in the West Coast. Yeah, I'm in California. Which time zone? UTC. Yeah, I'm in the Pacific time zone. So you'll see here, 7 o'clock my time, so it'll be 7 o'clock my time is 10 o'clock Pacific, Eastern. And then 8 o'clock, no, 9 o'clock Central. All right, so I'm just going to call it. I think it's just going to chop here, right? Like I said, it'll likely bounce here, come back here. People are going to go long up here. People are going to go short down here. So it's just going to be chopped between this range right here. So this range right here, it needs to break this range for me to do anything. So let me just kind of draw it up for you. Yeah, this range right here, right? It needs to break. Yeah, it needs to break this, right? So if it breaks this top part right here, I look for a short, right? If it breaks down here, right, I'm looking for a long. So unless it breaks one of these two levels, you're just going to be in a chop fest up here. Yeah, go ahead. Last question. Go ahead. Yep. No, not really, because most of the volume happens at the open, right? 6:30 to 7. So unless there's news after 7, I likely won't stick around because my best trading hours are between 4 and 7 a.m. Right? Anything after that is just not a lot of volume. I need volatility, right? I can't I can't trade the small grinds, right? So, like I said, between 4 and 7 is when I trade, and then after that, maybe 11 to 12 is when I'll trade again. But again, between 11 and 12, it has to have volume, right? And it has to have maybe some news or something when I trade. But again, I keep on watching it, right? I continue to watch it, but again, that's not my main focus after 7. Right? I got to do other stuff as well. So that's the reason why it's usually between 4 and 7 for me. Yeah, like I said, there's no big news today, really, right? Yeah, so if there's news, um, if there's news, then I'll stick around to see what the price does, right? But if it doesn't happen, like I said, I trade where there's lots of volume. So that's between 6:30 and 7 is when most of my most of the volatility happens, right? Where the price moves a lot, or news. I like trading news at 5:30 in the morning, right? That's again between 4 and 7 is my prime trading. Other than that, it's just very boring to watch the market, right? Like you can't sit there and watch the market when there's no volatility, no volume, right? You're just wasting your time, right? So I learned that lesson, you know, pretty well. So usually after 7, I cut it off. I'll continue to watch it, but I if I see something, I'll trade it. But I I tend not to stream those just because it's so boring. It's so boring to sit there and watch somebody that's supposed to trade don't trade, right? So that's kind of the reason why. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm just gonna go ahead and end the stream here. Good luck to you. It's